It's amazing how sometimes just one single social media post can tell you way more than 1,000 pages of policy papers. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. We're looking at this recent, really intense clash between a U.S. president and the Pope, a fight that blew up in just a matter of hours. And what it reveals? Well, it's a playbook, a political strategy that actually uses controversy as a weapon. All right, let's get right into it.
So this is where it all kicked off. On April 12, 2026, this AI-generated image pops up on President Donald Trump's Truth Social account. And, just look at it. You've got him in these robes, a glowing hand, looking like he's healing a sick man. And in the background, oh, you've got it all. An American eagle, fighter jets, the Statue of Liberty. You can imagine, an image like this, posted by a sitting president, it absolutely ignited a political and religious firestorm all around the globe. But here's the thing, right? This image didn't just come out of nowhere. To really get why the backlash was so huge, we have to rewind and look at the 24 hours leading up to it, because it was an incredibly fast escalation, one that basically put the White House and the Vatican in a direct face-off.
Okay, and what's just wild is the speed of it all. Look at this timeline. On April 7th, Trump posts this threat against Iran. A few days go by, and on April 11th, Pope Leo XIV leads a peace vigil in Rome. A lot of people saw this as a direct response, with him saying, "Enough of war." Well, the very next day, Trump hits back on social media, going right after the Pope for his position. And then, get this, just 46 minutes after that attack, the infamous AI image goes up. It's just bang, bang, bang.
And here are his exact words. This is the post that came right before the picture. He wrote, "I don't want a pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want a pope who criticizes the president of the United States, because I'm doing exactly what I was elected to do." It's a direct verbal shot, right? He's drawing a clear line in the sand, even before that visual bomb dropped.
So as you can imagine, the reaction to that image was, well, it was immediate, it was huge, and honestly, it came from some really unexpected corners. This wasn't just your typical political chatter. No, this was a deep condemnation from religious leaders, from his own allies, and of course, from his opponents. It just goes to show how high the stakes are when you play this kind of game. The criticism from inside the Catholic Church itself was, frankly, severe. You had Cardinal Joseph Tobin of Newark calling the post, and I'm quoting here, "a grave misunderstanding of the Holy Father's ministry and a troubling lack of respect for the faith of millions." He went on to call the use of that secret imagery deeply offensive. That really tells you just how serious this was on a religious level. And this really shows you how far the criticism reached, because it crossed all the usual political lines. On one side, you've got House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries calling it a shameful attack. But then on the other side, look at this. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a former super staunch MAGA ally, said she completely denounced it. Think about it. It is so rare to see those two figures on the same page about anything. That alone tells you how big this was. Even within his own base, people were getting worried. Conservative podcaster Eric Erickson pointed out that the real story here wasn't just the political fight, but the cracks it was creating in Trump's support system. He said that even his most loyal Christian supporters were, quote, waking up to his blasphemy. That suggests the post really crossed a line for people who had stuck with him through pretty much everything else. And honestly, the list of critics just kept growing. You had the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, conservative groups like Catholics for Catholics, Republican politicians like Don Bacon, Democratic governors, and then it went international. The president of Iran, the prime minister of Spain, all of them, all coming out to condemn it. So, okay, you've got this massive bipartisan international backlash just building and building. What happens next? Well, the story takes another strange turn with the post disappearing, and then let's call it a unique explanation. Yeah, not too surprisingly, by the morning of April 13th, the post was just gone. Poof. It was quietly deleted from his Truth Social account. There was no comment at first, which of course just let everyone's imagination run wild about why it was taken down. But later that day, President Trump did offer a defense to reporters. And here's what he said. He claimed the image wasn't, a depiction. He said, "I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and it had to do with Red Cross, which we support." And then he added, "and only the fake news could come up with that one." Okay, so let's hit pause on the minute-by-minute drama for a second and zoom out. Because this whole incident, from the initial attack on the Pope to the image itself to that doctor defense, it's actually a perfect case study of a very well-known political strategy. So that's the big question, isn't it? Was this just a random, impulsive thing, a mistake, or does it actually fit into a bigger pattern? Well, a lot of research into modern populist movements would tell you it's definitely the latter. Yeah, there's actually a name for this tactic. Academics call it religious symbolism, and researchers at George Fox University defined it pretty clearly. It's when you use religious imagery and language in politics to create this kind of moral battle. Suddenly, it's not just about policy anymore. The whole conflict gets reframed as a struggle between, quote, the righteous people and the corrupt elite. And when you take that playbook and lay it over what just happened, man, the parallels are pretty striking. Let's break it down. First, create a righteous versus corrupt divide. Check. That's exactly what criticizing the Pope's liberal stance does. Next, use religious symbols to make your agenda seem legit. Well, posting that Christ-like image of yourself is about as textbook as it gets. And finally, frame a political fight as defending your country. Yep, that's what happened when the Pope's anti-war message was twisted into a threat against the US. Which really leaves us with one big critical question to chew on. This whole episode just brings it into such sharp focus. When our leaders start using sacred symbols like this, are they really appealing to people's faith? Or are they just grabbing one of the most powerful tools out there to hold on to their own power? That's something worth thinking about.